This is Riot Platform on the monthly chart, and we do have a major resistance support band at roughly $25. We can see that we have the lows at, we'll say, $2. And when we scroll down to the weekly chart, we see that we recently had this leg higher, breaking the downtrend line. However, after hitting the round hole psychological number of $20, price has retraced from the lows roughly 50%. However, price does find itself now back at a level that suggests to go long, as price is in a daily bias level at $9.95, and that daily bias level is nested within a weekly bias level at $8.50. Before we continue with the analysis, let's look at this article. It is coming from Simply Wall Street, Riot Platforms. Is it a good position to deliver on growth plans? So should you shareholders be worried about its cash burn? Again, we're going to look at, and we're going to define cash burn as the amount of cash that the company is spending each year to fund its growth. So as of June of 2023, Riot Platforms had cash of roughly $300 million and minimal debt, which is great. So it had cash runway of approximately for 19 months, meaning if it wasn't making any money, it could last another roughly 2 years from June of this year. So Riot managed to reduce its cash burn by 73% over the last 12 months, which suggests it's on the right flight path. Unfortunately, however, operating revenue dropped 17% during that same time frame. So think about it. Over the past 12 months, we've seen Bitcoin go from, say, 30K down to 18K. However, this past year, we've seen that price go from 18K roughly to 32, so almost a double, but it has now retraced and it's sitting at roughly 26K. So Riot is going to go as Bitcoin goes. So by looking at a company's cash burn relative to its market capitalization, one can gain insight on how much shareholders would be diluted if the company needed to raise cash enough to cover another year's cash burn. Again, based on their current cash, they can last another 19 months. So they don't necessarily need to raise more capital unless they wanted to buy more rigs to try to acquire more Bitcoin. Riot Platforms has a market capitalization of $2 billion and burnt through $181 million last year, which is 9% of the company's market value. Given that is a rather small percentage, it would probably be really easy for the company to fund another year's growth by issuing some new shares to investors or even by taking out a loan. So the way they would grow that growth over the coming year is, again, through more rigs. Riot Platforms cash burn. This is the article. They think its cash burn reduction was reassuring, while its falling revenue has them worried. Cash burning companies are always on the riskier side of things. But after considering all the factors discussed in this short piece, they're not too worried about its rate of cash burn. Alright, so again, kind of going back to the weekly chart. And we can see that price did dip below the 200-day moving average. Now, if and when price is going to rise, has to get through all this trading here. So that cluster of trading is going to serve as headwinds. Now, all the prices in the daily bias level, one needs to look at the price of Bitcoin. One needs to look at the price of the dollar. So if we look at the dollar, we can see that since July, it's been in a crazy uptrend. However, it is reaching levels that are going to serve as resistance. But the optimum buy is going to be when price breaks this uptrend line. Now, if we go to Bitcoin, what we can see is on the weekly chart, we have this massive support resistance area. And we can see in recent months, price attempted to close above it but could not on 2 different occasions. The line in the sand is this $25,000 level, which was support, resistance, support, and has served as support again. Overall, Bitcoin is in a $6,000-7,000 trading range, but price is going to go up when we see a decline in the US dollar. Ultimately, that's when you can time your entry into Riot. Last bull market, Riot went as high as 45. Actually, as high as 70. This is sort of a nasty looking M pattern, right? But last bull market went up to 70. We're trading at $10. We get back into the highs. That's roughly a 6x, 7x. That's assuming Bitcoin only gets to its previous all-time high. If Bitcoin gets to 100K, price can get to $100 as well. So if you have conviction over the long run, not a bad spot to start picking up some Riot. I'm gonna try to time my entry along by looking at Bitcoin and also the US dollar. So we'll see what happens. I don't think price is gonna move higher until later this year into next year, as the U.S. Feds are going to raise rates probably later this year, which is going to put downward pressure on the Bitcoin because the US dollar is going to move higher. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Please like the video.